My stepchildren announced they were changing their last name back to their dad's because mine didn't feel right. So I changed the beneficiary on their trust funds to match. My name didn't feel right on those either. Hello everyone, welcome to Reddit Visuals. Funny thing, I used to believe gratitude arrives on its own if you show up long enough. Turns out entitlement arrives faster. I'm David, 44, and for 8 years I've been the boring, reliable constant in a house that ran on 3 clocks. School bell, soccer practice, and the unpredictable moods of teenagers who weren't mine by blood, but became mine by choice. When I married their mom, Rachel, I didn't walk in with speeches or demands. I walked in with groceries, rides to practice at 6 a.m., Wi-Fi that actually worked, and a calendar with color-coded appointments that made their chaotic lives run smoother. I learned Connor's cleat sizes before his biological father remembered his birthday. I learned Lily's favorite pizza order, black olives off, mushrooms on, before her real dad learned her homeroom teacher's name. I wasn't trying to replace anyone. I was just trying to be the person who showed up when showing up mattered. Quick financial context because it matters later. Before Rachel and I married, my parents established 2 trust funds, $95,000 each, $190,000 total, originally intended for future children of David Chen. When I married someone with 2 kids and we decided not to have more, my parents amended the language at my request to include stepchildren under David's legal guardianship. The structure was simple. Education and medical expenses could be accessed anytime with proper documentation. The discretionary portion, the big chunk for down payments, business investments, or that cushion at age 25, required me as trustee to approve, with a bank as corporate co-trustee to keep everything legal and clean. It wasn't charity. It was family infrastructure. Over the years, those trusts quietly funded SAT prep courses, dental work that insurance wouldn't cover, a summer coding camp for Connor, and private art lessons for Lily when she showed real talent. Every withdrawal had paperwork, invoice, receipt, my signature, bank approval. I never made it a production. I wanted them to associate stability with presence, not with debt or gratitude speeches. Connor started calling me D because David sounds like a guidance counselor, which, fair enough. Lily called me Coach after I spent 3 months teaching her to parallel park in empty parking lots until she could do it blindfolded. In 1,000 small, unglamorous ways, we built something that felt like family. Or so I thought. Their biological father, Marcus, existed mostly as a birthday text that arrived 2 days late, and a well-timed shadow at graduations and award ceremonies, events with audiences and photo opportunities. He's a master of the meaningful cameo. He'd show up smelling expensive, hug them like a movie reunion, take pictures for social media, and disappear for another 4 months. But here's the thing about cameos. When the lighting's right, they steal the show from the people who built the set. Everything shifted after Rachel's father died. Grief does strange mathematics to families. It made Rachel sentimental about the past. It made the kids protective of her emotions. And somehow, it made Marcus magnetic again. He started hovering, dropping off store-bought lasagnas, offering to take the kids for weekends he'd never asked for before, posting throwback photos with captions like, "Family is forever," and "Time flies but love stays." The comment section lit up like Christmas. Such a devoted dad. Beautiful family. Blood always finds its way home. I didn't comment. I don't compete in comment sections. Your real resume is written in moments nobody photographs. 3 months after the funeral, on a Wednesday evening around 7:15, I'm loading the dishwasher when Connor and Lily walk into the kitchen with that synchronized energy that tells you they've rehearsed something. Rachel is at the table scrolling through her phone, and I can feel the air change like pressure before a storm. "Hey, Dee," Connor says, hands flat on the counter like he's steadying himself. "We need to talk to you about something." Lily, who's braiding her hair nervously, adds quickly, "It's not personal or anything." That phrase is always the pin before the grenade. I close the dishwasher and turn around, keeping my voice steady. "What's going on?" Connor takes a breath. "We've been thinking about this for a while. We want to change our last name back, to Dad's name, to Marcus's. Chen just... It doesn't feel like us." The words land like a paper cut. You don't realize it's bleeding until something stings. I nod slowly, processing. You want to go back to Williams? Yeah, Lily says, looking at her mother instead of me. It feels more authentic, more like who we really are. Rachel looks trapped between two moving vehicles. We've talked about it as a family, she says carefully. And I notice she says we, but I wasn't part of that conversation. The kids feel like it's important for their identity. It's about connection, Connor adds. Dad's been really present lately. He's making an effort, and his name, it just fits better. I don't respond immediately. The refrigerator hums aggressively. I dry my hands on a towel and fold it precisely, buying time to think. Thank you for telling me, I say finally. I appreciate you being direct about it. They both look relieved, like they expected an explosion and got a weather report instead. They leave the kitchen thinking they've delivered news and I've accepted it. When the house goes quiet an hour later, I pull out a file folder labeled Trust Documents, Chen Family, and sit at my desk. I don't make calls that night. I don't send angry texts. I do what I always do when something shifts in the foundation. I review the paperwork and think about what comes next. There's a principle I learned from my father, who built houses for 40 years. Never react to disrespect with chaos. React with clarity and documentation. Emotions are weather. Paperwork is climate. Over the next week, the name change stops being a private decision and becomes a public relations campaign. Photos start appearing on Marcus's social media. Old pictures of him with the kids at the beach, at birthday parties I'm cropped out of, with captions like, "The Williams Legacy" and "Blood Runs Deep." The comments glow with hearts and amen. Rachel, who avoids conflict like people avoid eye contact on subways, likes a few posts because in her mind, liking costs nothing. At dinner one night, she says gently, "They're young adults figuring out who they are. It's not about you." I know, I say. Identity is important. So is integrity. She frowns. What does that mean? It means I agree they should define themselves however they want. I also think it's fair that the resources tied to my name reflect that definition. Her face goes pale. David, please don't do anything rash. I won't, I promise. And I mean it. Rash is emotional. What I'm planning is structural. Marcus, who hasn't called me in 3 years, suddenly starts appearing everywhere the kids are. He invites them to a Williams family heritage dinner at some restaurant with cloth napkins and valet parking. He asks Rachel for baby photos. He orders custom hoodies with a script W embroidered on the chest. He's performing fatherhood like an actor who skipped rehearsals but memorized the best lines. And it's working. The kids start talking about him differently, not as the guy who forgot to pick them up from soccer, but as the dad who's really stepping up and finally showing us who he is. I try the soft approach first because I'm not interested in being the villain in someone else's redemption story. On a Saturday morning, I ask Connor to help me install a new bathroom faucet. He agrees with a shrug that costs him nothing. We work in silence for 20 minutes, wrenches, washers, plumber's tape, before I ask, what exactly doesn't feel right about Chen? He stops turning the wrench and looks at the wall. It's like, when people call me Connor Chen, I feel like I'm pretending to be someone I'm not. Marcus is my blood. Williams is my name. I just want it back. Got it, I say, handing him the basin wrench. What does blood pay for? The authenticity or the car insurance? His jaw tightens. That's not fair. You're right, I say evenly. Fair would be me asking you to calculate how many hours of my life went into the things you call normal. I'm not doing that. I'm asking what a name obligates. He doesn't answer. The soft approach dies the way soft approaches do when the script was written by someone else. On Monday morning, I call the bank's trust services department and ask for our account manager, a woman named Patricia, who's been handling fiduciary accounts for 20 years. Good morning, Mr. Chen, she says. How can I help you? Hi, Patricia. I need to discuss amendments to the 2 trusts we manage for my stepchildren. They're pursuing a legal name change, from Chen back to their birth name, Williams. I want to make sure the trust documents reflect their decision appropriately. I see, she says, and I hear the pen click. What changes are you considering? Here's my thinking, I say. Education and medical expenses remain fully accessible regardless of their last name. Those are unconditional. But the discretionary distributions, the funds available at age 25 for down payments, investments, major life purchases, I want those to require family name alignment. If they choose Williams over Chen, that's their right. But the discretionary money attached to the Chen family structure should flow accordingly. I'd like any unused discretionary funds to convert to an annual scholarship in their names at their high school, awarded to students who contribute quietly without recognition. Patricia is quiet for a moment. That's within your rights as settler and trustee. The beneficiaries remain the same, but you're adding conditional terms to discretionary access. Education and medical stay protected. I'll need Rachel's notarized acknowledgement since she's the custodial parent, and we'll need copies of the legal name change documents once they're filed. Understood, I say. I'll have everything to you within the week. The documents get drafted, signed, notarized, and filed. No drama, just pen strokes and the quiet efficiency of legal language doing what emotions can't. I send a message to the family group chat that afternoon. Hey everyone, when you file the legal name change paperwork, please send me copies so I can update school records, medical files, and trust documentation accordingly. Education and health coverage are unaffected. Discretionary trust terms updated per attached summary. Connor replies with a thumbs up emoji. Lily sends, okay, thanks. Rachel texts privately, can we please talk about this before you finalize anything? We talk that night after the kids are in their rooms. She sits on the couch wrapped in a blanket like armor. You're angry, she says. I'm clear, I say. Angry makes noise. Clarity makes decisions. They're still figuring things out. They're kids. Connor is 20, I say. Lily is 18. They're adults making adult choices about identity and family. I'm just making sure the financial structure matches their choices. You're punishing them. I'm aligning resources, I say. If they want Marcus to be their father in name, then Marcus can be their father in function. Education and health? Fully covered, always. The extra stuff, the investments in their futures that say, I believe in you and I'm betting on you, that should come from the family they claim. She rubs her temples. You're making this symbolic. They made it symbolic, I say quietly. I'm just honoring the symbolism. Word spreads the way it always does in families. Selectively, strategically, and with key details missing. Marcus calls me 3 days later from a number I'd deleted years ago. He doesn't say hello. You're cutting off my kids. They're not cut off, I say. School and health stay funded. If you want to cover the extras, the adult milestones, the investments, put your name on the checks your name fits on. He laughs, sharp and bitter. I don't have your kind of money, David. I didn't have your genetics, I say, but I showed up anyway. Maybe you should try that approach. He says something crude. The call ends. 10 minutes later, a screenshot appears in our family group chat. Marcus posted on Facebook. Some men think money buys love. Real fathers know love isn't a transaction. The comments explode with support. Hearts, prayers, shares. Someone's aunt writes in all caps, blood over bank accounts. I don't respond. I make a sandwich. I add extra mustard because spite needs flavor. The first real consequence hits 6 weeks later. Connor's legal name change has been processed. He's officially Connor Williams now. He texts me a screenshot from his banking app. Hey D, I'm putting a deposit down on that apartment near campus. Can you release the $8,000 from the trust like we discussed? We had discussed it. 3 months earlier, we'd toured the place together. I'd taught him how to read a lease, what questions to ask the landlord, how to calculate whether he could afford it. We'd done the math on a napkin at a coffee shop and high-fived when the numbers worked. I reply, education and medical expenses are always available. The apartment qualifies as educational since it supports your college attendance. However, discretionary funds for non-essential major purchases now require family name alignment per the updated trust terms. Since you've legally changed to Williams, you'll need to coordinate discretionary distributions with the Williams family. I'm happy to help you find a more affordable option or co-sign a lease if needed. 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again. Then, are you serious right now? Completely, I type. This isn't punishment, it's policy. You made a choice about family. I'm respecting that choice in every way, including financially. This is petty. Petty is posting about real fathers on Facebook, I write. Policy is paperwork. Your education is fully funded. Your rent can be covered as a living expense tied to school. The $8,000 discretionary chunk for the nicer place? That's the money that says, you're mine and I'm investing in your future. Ask the family you chose. He doesn't respond. 20 minutes later, Rachel appears in my office doorway. He's devastated, she says. He called me crying. My chest tightens, but my voice stays level. He can come over. I'll help him budget for a different apartment. I'll cover application fees as an educational expense. I'll even help him negotiate rent. But the discretionary deposit? That comes from the name on the door. David, please. Rachel, I say. I've built a lot of things in my life. The only ones that stayed standing are the ones where people respected the foundation. That night, someone keys my car in the grocery store parking lot. A jagged scratch from headlight to taillight that spells nothing but anger. I get it repainted. I don't file a police report. Some statements don't need translation. Lily breaks first. She appears in my home office doorway on a Thursday evening, wearing an oversized hoodie with sleeves covering her hands. I didn't change my name yet, she says. I filed the paperwork, but I can still withdraw it. You don't have to do anything for my benefit, I say. She steps inside, cautious. Connor's apartment thing, was that because of the name? Partially, I say. It's about alignment. If you tell me I'm not your family in name, I'm not going to pretend I am in function. Your school is fully paid for. Your health insurance doesn't care what your last name is. But the money that says, I believe in your dreams, that comes from the people whose dreams you share. Her eyes get shiny. It felt good seeing Williams again. Like putting on a jacket that still fits. I understand, I say. Just make sure the jacket's actually warm and not just familiar. She stares at the floor. Marcus said you're trying to control us with money. Marcus would say that, I reply. He's fluent in theory and illiterate in practice. I'm not controlling you. I'm refusing to subsidize a performance I wasn't cast in. She wipes her face with her sleeve. If I keep Chen, what changes? Nothing changes, I say gently. You don't owe me a name. But if you use mine, don't say it doesn't feel right, while wearing what it bought. She leaves, comes back 5 minutes later, leaves again. Teenagers are weather systems, unpredictable and humid. 3 days later, Connor moves into a smaller apartment with 2 roommates he found through the campus housing board. It's not Instagram-worthy, but it's functional and affordable. He texts me a photo of a bookshelf they assembled from cinder blocks and plywood. No caption. I send back a thumbs up that carries more weight than words. Marcus goes quiet when bills start arriving instead of photo opportunities. He promises to figure something out, but doesn't. His posts slow down. When he does share something, it's inspirational quotes about weathering storms and choosing peace, pretty wrapping paper around nothing. 8 weeks after the name change becomes official, Lily texts me. I withdrew the paperwork. Staying Chen, not because of money, because of truth. I don't celebrate. I just text back, proud of you for thinking it through. Connor takes longer. Pride is expensive and the payment plan is brutal. He goes quiet for 2 months. He burns meals, learns to budget groceries, discovers what utilities actually cost. He texts me at 1 a.m. asking how to stop a toilet from running. I send him a YouTube link and a diagram. He replies, fixed it. Gross, but satisfying. One Saturday, he shows up at my door with a folder. Inside are 6 months of bank statements, a budget spreadsheet, and rent receipts showing consistent on-time payments. I want to talk about the discretionary fund, he says. Not to complain, to show I'm serious. We sit at the kitchen table. I review everything with a red pen, making notes, asking questions. His answers are thoughtful. After an hour, I sign a partial release form for $5,000 toward a Roth IRA and an emergency fund. He stares at my signature like it's an apology written in ink. This isn't about your name, I say. It's about your choices. You chose responsibility. That's what unlocks doors. He nods, voice steady. I get it now. I really do. The internet never learns the parts that matter. The comments eventually fade. The posts move on to other scandals and celebrations. Nobody hearts a photo of a balanced budget. No aunt types in all caps about a kid learning to adult. But if you want to know where a family really lives, check the receipts, not the reels. Here's the final piece. Lily applies for college scholarships this year, and one of them has an essay prompt. Describe a choice you made that taught you who you are. Her opening line guts me. Names tell you where you came from. Choices tell you where you're going. She gets the scholarship. She frames the acceptance letter. I frame that sentence in my memory. Marcus still posts occasionally. Motivational quotes. Brunch photos with captions about quality time. He's an excellent brunch father. If that sounds bitter, maybe it is a little. Or maybe it's just accurate. Rachel and I saw a therapist who said something that stung but stuck. You're both right, but only one of you kept score. That's the burden of being the reliable one. You start keeping books because nobody else does. We made new agreements. She acknowledged that financial decisions need documentation, not just feelings. I agreed to communicate earlier before resentment builds policy. We both decided to stop performing for people who won't be there when the water heater explodes at midnight. So here's my question for you, Reddit. Was I wrong? Should I have kept funding their adult lives regardless of their choice to distance themselves through their name? Or did I do the right thing by aligning financial support with family alignment? Was it petty, principled, or something in between? Drop your verdict below and tell me what you would have done. Your perspective might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. If you made it this far, thank you for listening. If you want more stories about the complicated math of blended families, real consequences, and what happens when love meets ledgers, hit that subscribe button and drop a like. It genuinely helps the channel grow and tells the algorithm that honest stories matter. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.